One of my favorite things about having and being in close proximity is that you can't hide. I have noticed in times in my life where I have hired and been in a ton of containers, I've had a lot of coaches, and what happens is you are able to hide. You're able to say, I'm busy, I can't show up for that. I don't have the time for that. Or I'm not going to get close proximity because I have all these other things and I'm so invested in them. And the problem is that you can hide, you can become invisible. And here is one of my biggest pieces of advice I could give to anyone. Part of the reason to have close proximity as a coach, as a mentor, is that you cannot hide, is that you get called out and you get called up. So many people want big businesses. They want to make all this money. They want to be more visible. They want to make more impact. They want to have better content that attracts their people. They want more attention, but they're not willing to get uncomfortable inside of a container by putting themselves out there. They want to do the daily things I've always done because they work, they're comfortable. And one of the decisions that I made in November was to get rid of all coaches except one and go all in. I have been stretched. I have been pushed. I have been told like where I'm doing things wrong and where I get to do better. And that's what I paid for. That's what I paid for. That's what I asked for. That's what I wanted. If you are in a container and you are hiding, I want to challenge you right now, because I am the person who loves just shrinking back, being the observer, being the person that views what everybody else asks, not taking up space, not calling attention to myself, not owning my mistakes, not owning where I need help, not owning where it's important for my growth. It's way easier to shrink back. It's way easier to not talk about it. It's way easier to not ask questions. You know what else? It's way easier to quit. So many people want growth. They want big businesses. They want to make more money. They want to attract more clients, but they're not utilizing the spaces that they're in to ask. And I'm calling myself out because I've been there. It is hard to ask questions. It is hard to put yourself out there. It is hard to be vulnerable. But the people who are the most vulnerable, who are I go first energy, like go ahead, like critique me, tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong, tell me exactly how I can improve, because nothing is going to stop me from achieving the success that I desire. And success looks different to everybody, and that's okay. I believe that success, part of success, in my definition, is impacting more lives, is serving and supporting more people. And the only way that I can do that is if I am willing to improve, if I am willing to take constructive criticism from a mentor who is where I want to go. So I want you to ask yourself, when you put yourself in containers, when you buy programs, when you buy trainings, are you participating, or are you just waiting for the next drop? Are you participating to win a prize, or are you fully invested, embodied in changing the business that you have? Are you just showing up because you're paying for it? Or are you really showing up and putting everything you have into this? I create uncomfortable challenges for myself because I know I'm not stretching myself to the level that I could be stretched. This is why I've done 70 some lives in the month of March. I stretch myself outside of my coaching, and I ask my coaches to stretch me even further. We say we want big growth. We say we want big results. We say we want all of this impact, and we want to reach more people and attract more attention and create better content and create better programs and all of these things. However, most of us are not willing to do the work. Most of us aren't willing to put ourselves out there, even inside of a container, even with a coach. It's easier to be quiet. It's easier not to go first. It's easier not to ask questions. It's easier not to be vulnerable. But my guess is, as someone who is an entrepreneur or a CEO, because that's who I'm speaking to here, as someone who wants to grow big, you didn't do this because you thought it was easy. And if you did, somebody gave you the wrong memo. You said yes to this because you knew that the pain, the discomfort, you knew that those things were worth the impact and the lives that you could change in the process. So where do you get to put yourself out there more in containers? Where do you get to ask more questions? Where do you get to ask, what can I do to improve? How can I be better? What would you suggest I do? Those questions are hard. Most business owners are proud. We don't want to humble ourselves to ask for support because we know it all. But I'm telling you, humbling myself this year in this container has created so much more success, so much more discomfort. But that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to know exactly where are the holes in my business? Where are the holes in my content? Where are the holes in my visibility strategy? What am I not seeing? And that's what high-level mentorship is for. That is what having a close proximity coach is for. And I'm challenging you, if you have a close proximity coach or mentor, use it. Stop hiding. Stop being invisible in containers. Even if you can't show up to calls live, what resources do you have? Can you ask questions on replays? Can you ask questions in a Telegram or Voxer? If you want real growth, it's not going to be easy. You get to be vulnerable. Just like I share, be vulnerable with your audience. Put yourself out there. Be vulnerable in these spaces because you hired that coach to help you. You hired that coach because you wanted bigger results. But it doesn't matter if you never asked for it. It doesn't matter if you never put yourself out there. It doesn't matter if you never stretch yourself and say, I'm ready to go big. Tell me exactly what to do because I want to make big changes and I want to create bigger results. So when you try this with your coach, come back and tell me how it went.